Hey everybody, welcome to Off the Rack. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Sal, and welcome to this live edition of our show where we take the books from the past week, recap and review them, tell you what we thought about them, and then recommend comics that are coming out this week that we think you should check out. This is the premier comic book news, reviews, and recommendations show that is only live on Mondays. There are other ones, but ours are almost as good, if not just as good.
We're the premier one.
We're the
on
premier
ComicPop.
on one of the ComicPop channels, of which there are 3.
That's right.
Speaking of which, we didn't do any promotion for it, but there was a new old episode of Bonus Round, which was the back issues of video games where Tiffany plays an old video game thanks to recommendations from both Danielle and the audience that we made 10 years ago. And the most recent episode that dropped on Sunday was Friday the 13th.
I totally forgot.
Which is such a fun it's a damn fun game. I remember playing it in my bedroom on a giant CRT TV, just getting frustrated, but having a ball doing it. I'm really excited for you to check that out if you haven't already over on youtube.com at ComicPop Plays. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and give us a like. It helps us out. So we're going to be talking about the books that came out, and obviously we're going to talk about Spider-Man. I know Tiffany was not prepared for it. I mentioned it on Twitter.
I wasn't. I'm not prepared for anything. I was living in Wes Anderson world.
It's true. Yeah. Tiffany actually wrote, conceived, directed, shot, and cut a promo / what would you describe it?
Was just a viral video. It's just,
we didn't make a viral video.
No, we didn't. No. Sorry. It is a current trend over on TikTok. So I was like, we should do it. And Sal was like, let's do it. Why not?
Yeah.
What do you want me to do?
Right. So Tiffany,
but it's also a promo for the upcoming back issues.
That's right. So if you haven't already checked it out, it will be live on youtube.com/ComicPop at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so you can watch it while you're watching this.
The Wes Anderson thing, not
the Wes Anderson thing. That will also be out on Instagram.com/ComicPopOfficial and TikTok.com/ComicPapa, which is where we are on TikTok. But you don't have to worry about that. It's a really fun video. Also, it's on Twitter at twitter.com/Sal Says What. But who gives a crap about that blue garbage anyway? It's all going to hell in a handbasket, just like Amazing Spider-Man. But I'm really excited to talk about that topic because it's not the usual discourse, and I've seen so much of it. Like, there's so much discourse about what's happening in Spider-Man that I'm like, we have to talk about this.
We have to be part of the discourse. We must add our voice to the chorus.
That's right. Especially because I think we're going to be harmonizing. Everybody's like a bass, and we're going to be the tenor that really like sings.
I don't know anything about music, so I'm just like, that sounds awesome.
Right? We're going to be the altos, if you're talking about the female section, because altos are underappreciated, but also they are necessary to the chorus.
Just say Sal knows what part of chorus I was part of.
I was also in chorus. Yeah, and you were. Yeah, I was.
I also can't sing, so that didn't help either. It was just a bad 4 years.
I'd say that high school for me was way better than middle school. And middle school for me was in one building, so it was 11 years of hell, and then 4 years of like whatever. Purgatory. I'm like, what's between heaven and hell?
I just meant chorus. Just in general.
See. Yeah, chorus was stuff.
I'm not a fan. I'm not good. I'm bad at it.
I liked it.
You can sing. There's a really big difference between those two.
I know what notes are. That's all. But anyway, this show is sponsored by viewers like you. If you're watching the show live and you, for whatever reason, based on this banter, want to give us any money, you can do so by using Super Chats. Ask a question or comment.
If this didn't sell it.
If this didn't sell it, I don't know what will. But check it out over use your Super Chats. Ask a question or comment. We'll be here on the show. Or if you don't feel like doing that, you can go to patreon.com/ComicPop. Or if you're watching the show after the show goes live and you still want to help us out and you want to do it financially, there's an earn button. It's like a heart with a $sign in it. You can click that if you want, and it'll still be part of the comments, and it'll be like emblazoned. There'll be a thing on it, and I'll probably answer it. But yeah, there are a couple of fine people that did that StreamYard did not capture, including Beeper Leaper, who said, "ComicPop, what's poppin'? Here's some coin that Wes Anderson style video was hilarious."
Yay!
Thank you very much, Beeper Leaper. Mickey Veach says, finally caught up on the Zdarsky Batman. Probably not the first to bring up this, but it feels like a sequel to the Morrison run. Heck, surviving a moonfall sounds like something Morrison would do. I didn't actually really even think about that until you mentioned it, because the fact is, it does feel very much like the kind of thing that Morrison would have done during their run on either Justice League or Batman. So I completely agree with you. It does feel like that. Certainly it does. It is Zdarsky like playing the hits, but in his own style. It's like getting, a really cool band to do an unexpected cover. It's like Joe Walsh doing a Beatles cover, where it's like, whoa, that is sick, and maybe I like it better, But yeah, so we're going to talk about Spider-Man towards the end because I think that'll keep you guys around a little longer. There's so many books to talk about. I don't know why I'm vamping.
I think it's also that we, there's so many books. This was such a light week for me. First of all. Second of all, it'll give you some time to actually like talk about other things instead of just talking about that one thing.
Yeah.
Oh, your pop filter's crazy. I just noticed that.
It is. Yeah. I wanted to test out this one to see how it goes. I was going to see how
I have
it sounds.
any now.
You have the one.
So now my plosives won't be so plosive-y.
Oh, good use of plosive. That's the first time I've ever heard it used in a sentence.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, I read Superman Batman or Batman Superman World's Finest number 14 from Mark Waid and Dan Mora. This continues to be like one of the best looking books at DC, obviously, because Dan Mora is drawing it. It's also continuing to be fun and joyful. It's set in the past of DC's past, written by a person who would know it best.
So because it's set in the past, now we're 14 issues in, and I don't think I've asked this question yet. So I don't know why 14. Listen to you talk about this for 14
issues.
Yeah, issues now. Is that 14 months or does it come out twice a month?
I don't know.
Anyway, but like, since this is taking place in the past, does it ever feel like something massive can't happen?
I don't care.
Okay. So
we're in such a weird place with comics that like we talked about this on the couch a little bit. And I you know what? Let's use this as our topic for today. Like a little.
I thought the topic was Spider-Man.
It's Spider-Man. It's a whole different thing.
Okay.
That's what this is.
That's a different topic.
But I think that there's something about the big two and the stories that they are encouraged to tell that the dissolving of Elseworlds at DC, getting rid of the Elseworlds label, actually ended up harming main continuity comics because they can't. Writers who are restless or want to tell the biggest, most bombastic story have no place else to put it.
Right.
But in main continuity, lest you are a big enough deal to get like a black label book. If you because the reality is like a handful of people have written black label books. Whereas if you look at Elseworlds, like there's a myriad of writers and artists who've worked on those titles. And there's an expectation if you have a bunch of Elseworlds books, you can really it casts a wider net and captures a lot more creators and allows them to really get essentially get their creative rocks off, where they can tell like a big insane story. Look at how Tom Taylor works in either main continuity or not main continuity.
Right.
There's one book in continuity that he writes that I like outside of everything else. And it's fun. Everything else he does is fine. But out of continuity, he's a titan.
Yeah.
He nails it. And it's just like, why? Because he's better at being unrestrained. But that unrestrained attitude doesn't work, or it shouldn't work in mainstream comics, because as a result, comic book fans are reading these books and every effing story is the biggest effing thing.
Yeah.
And so they're getting burnout, and the next writer has to work twice as hard, 3 times as hard to undo what happened, rendering all the subsequent stories inert or irrelevant, and makes the readers burn out faster because whether they are tired of the whole universe being under threat every single month, or they recognize the patterns and go, I mean, I can't really get invested in this because I know it's going to get unmade when the next creative team comes in. Whereas if these writers and artists had different places to go where they were allowed to F around, I mean, like, how much fun is Deceased? How much fun is Injustice? How much fun was the Dark Multiverse, so much as we made fun of it? But it was because, you put too many restrictions on it. Dark Multiverse, great idea. Tales of the Dark Multiverse.
Right.
That's just what if. But also, it has to have a bad ending. Well, gee whiz, now I know how it's going to end.
Right. No, that is kind of where Black Label was leaning.
Yes. Well, it's always more adult oriented,
right?
Which some adults seem to confuse with dark.
Sure, but those books don't have to be within continuity.
They don't, and sometimes they are, but most of the time they are not.
Right. That does make it confusing. With Elseworlds, you knew, but I have a feeling that folks. So I agree that I do think there is a hurt there. But I also think that a lot of folk won't read an Elseworld story.
I think that they will, only because they've been conditioned by time.
Right. Well, because
the right kind of person is going to read an Elseworld story. There's a lot of people who are like, ooh, that doesn't matter, right?
Yeah. But like, first of all, we know that that label is very hit or miss.
Yes.
The Elseworlds label,
Yes.
like the stories that came out underneath the Elseworlds label they're not even. I don't even know if there's hit or miss. It's a lot of misses.
It's a lot of misses, but then like for every miss or for every 10 misses, you get Kingdom Come.
Right.
And it's like, oh, well, I guess
Red
it's
Sun or
right, and it's worth it. I think it's worth it to have like an ocean of crap if you have these islands of awesome that emerge from them.
But if you're looking at it from a business perspective, you're like, ooh, I don't know if that's worth
right. But if it sells, who cares? Who cares if it's critically panned? As long as the damn thing sells.
If it sells, I think fans are also been conditioned often to not care about something that isn't in continuity,
right?
And that always comes a lot back to cost, right? It's a cost of money, it's a cost of time. You only have so much of each.
Yes,
and so unless it's a creative team you're really behind, or it's an idea that you're really interested in, you may not be like willing to put the
dollars behind it
or the time.
That's true. Yeah,
and so
no, it's a double-edged sword to be sure. My thing is with respect to it being alienating for some readers, I'd rather the readers choose not to read it than burn out my existing audience, because I think those are the options, right? Because like if you're given a choice, something you don't want to read or something you feel compelled to read that eventually just burns a hole in your soul, you will scorched earth comics if they burn you out enough.
Sure.
Whereas with Elseworlds, it's like, it's a harmless label, and you'll hear about it. So if it is good, if the cream does rise to the top, you'll be like, oh man, I heard about this amazing series.
And that's what you really have to do. And then that does feel a little exclusionary or like elitist, but that may be the way you'd have, if you were going to bring it back.
Yeah.
You'd have to just pick the top creative teams that could come out and come out with like a strong pitch. Be like, what do you want to do?
Yeah. Watch as Marvel effed that up. There's actually, it's a masterclass in how to screw up an initiative, an imprint, and a direction. They did exactly what we suggested. What if they had Chip Zdarsky launch Spider Shadow?
Yeah.
It's a mini series, and at the time it had, while you don't necessarily care too much for Pascal Ferry, I thought it looked pretty great.
Right. Again,
but you had
that's a
but it's a subjective opinion, but it like you can't it ain't Greg Land.
No.
Where it's like with Symbiote Spider-Man, where it's like a really tough choice for me. That one was no choice at all. Zdarsky and Pascal Ferry doing this incredible story set in continuity, but with top tier talent, with a new initiative, new logo, new imprint, and then nothing. What came next? Nothing. But then now Marvel is announcing a new initiative called What If Dark. Yeah, it's Tales from the Dark Multiverse.
I was gonna say it's Black Label.
Yeah, no, it's What If Dark. It's Tales from the Dark effing Multiverse, where it's what if, but what if they end bad? And I'm like, that's you've done that already.
They did do that.
They did that. There was actually a huge period in What If where it was only dark. It's so stupid.
Well, also they did it more recently too. Those Darkhold books, they all ended dark.
Yes, but those weren't called What If. This is what happens when you have too many people who work for your company who don't know what the company did.
And you know what's funny about that?
Yeah.
Out of those Darkhold books.
Yeah, those Darkhold books.
One of them was really good.
Right. And then the rest were yeah. But and out of those, you'll have a memorable thing. And it's cool that they did that.
Yeah, what they really needed to do was with the What If relaunch with Zdarsky was have like Zdarsky doing his thing and then have the next team
already working on it. Yeah. They needed
a pitch.
Yeah. But that is Zdarsky has been very vocal about it. And I don't think I'm telling tales out of school when I say that he is very much he has been vocal about Marvel not getting behind their trade game and not really pushing like original graphic novels or really well collected trades and stories. And so that's where Life Story and What If came from. But again, it's just, I think that if you give your creative bullpen and your audience the option, it gives them an opportunity to really, getting back to what we were saying, like just wrapping it up.
Yeah.
I think it gives them a chance to really like get that out of their system. So it's like, hey, you know what you find out? You find out like, oh, Tom Taylor really thrives in this environment.
Sure.
And as long as we have this label, he will always thrive and we will always make money. We don't have to like waste him on something that maybe he's not best suited to.
Right.
This is not a Tom Taylor bash fest. I'm just saying, like, there are some writers who really, really lend themselves to one group, and there's some who are versatile enough to be able to work in different genres or labels.
I would say it's a really good like exercise because it's really easy, as we've seen with a lot of creators, to get into like a rhythm or a lull.
Yeah.
In terms of when they're running on like a long run of a book, to shake it up in terms of like forcing yourself to think differently, so that when you come back, you're not going to necessarily bring all that with you, but you bring a new thought pattern with you.
It was a perfect example of that. It really exemplifies what you just described. James Tynion IV. A person who was a mainstream DC writer, was writing Batman, left to take a big Scrooge McDuck bin full of money from Substack, but never stopped because he was still doing The Nice House on the Lake.
Yeah.
They gave him a place to go so they could retain him. And when they were done, they're not done, but like when there were lulls or when there were breaks, where'd he go? Sandman.
Yeah.
They gave him places to work that allowed him to never... Scott Snyder, cold turkey goes and does Best Jacket, God bless, but the less he's in the public eye, the less likely it'll be for him to have a tremendous return. And it's like, because the audience is fickle and they don't remember, I wonder. I think that there are some fantastic things that came out of his Best Jacket line, but he wasn't also doing like a Black Label book. He wasn't also doing this, that, and the other thing to like remind people. He was cashing in on people remembering Batman and stuff.
Right.
But he wasn't like maintaining that.
Yeah.
Now he did put 100%, 110% of his creative energies into all those lines, because there's like 20 books. And it's like, good for him. That's awesome. And I appreciate that. And when you have more money than you know what to do with, and after having such a prolific career, you can get away with that. Some folks aren't so lucky. Maybe they do need like guidance and shepherding and some kind of like, place to go.
Yeah.
When they need that recharge. So.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great opportunity to bring back a label if they were to do that. I think it's a great opportunity for
bring back readers
to get the reader who maybe is like, I don't want to be in on a run for like 100 issues.
Right.
Like I wasn't trying to give Tom King a hard time with that.
No, but it's
like,
true. Like, the reality is,
like,
God willing, everybody will get 100 issues.
Sure, but like, you may not feel like you can do that. You can't. But like, maybe you feel like you can jump into this because it'll have an end. Know there'll be a finality to this book. But it also gives your creators, like I said, like an opportunity to stretch some creative muscles that maybe they're not able to do at this moment.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's a good idea. I do understand the cost thing though.
Right.
Like I said, like you don't have the time, you don't necessarily have the money. So
no, it's true. They do have to consider those situations. She-Hulk number 12 from Rainbow Rowell and Joe Quinones and Andres.
Wait. So the other book was good. Yes.
Which one? Yeah, that's right.
World's
Batman
Finest?
Superman. Okay. World's Finest. Great art. Fine writing, characters are fun, cute mystery. Who killed Simon Stagg? The Daily Planet thinks Batman did, or rather, Bruce Wayne did. Bruce Wayne in the last issue gets arrested, and then immediately is back in the Batcave. And Clark is like, "I'm sorry, I had to report. I have to be unbiased. I couldn't say I know for a fact that Bruce Wayne didn't do it. It was just a cute banter between the two characters, but also it's a fun little like meta commentary. Like, yeah, Bruce Wayne didn't spend a night in jail. He's a billionaire."
Right.
For a minute you're like dun dun dun, then you're like, oh yeah, that's right. I live in the real world. It's just it's fun, and you can tell that Wade is trying to play with like characters that he doesn't get to, or normally wouldn't get the spotlight. Metamorpho, for example.
Okay. Awesome.
So yeah, it's just it's a fun book. If you haven't already read it, you should be reading this series. It's really cute and fun.
Great.
Yeah, She-Hulk 12. This is not the end of the series. I think there's one more at least. Nope, there's more.
But wait, there's lots more.
There's lots more. So this one,
they're only 25 away from 100.
I know.
200.
200. That's right.
Numbers are hard for me.
They're purporting this to be the Legacy 175th issue, which Marvel like to do. They like to celebrate books that end in 5, or denominations or multiplications thereof. But yeah, these covers are fine. They drive me nuts because I feel like I've seen this already so many times. Like they're all just She-Hulk in a different pose, but full body. There's no change. I think of the Marvel book where it's like they show like a flat image and then they show like they tilt the camera or they turn a thing, and just this classic way of like approaching things from the Marvel perspective. And this just isn't that. But the covers are good. They're good. They're good, and they I have
no problem with the Jen Bartel covers.
They don't overpromise.
No,
and they don't underdeliver. But I'd be okay with a little change up.
I don't mind these because they're like little posters.
They're like little posters. They're fun. It's
a different approach.
It's a different approach, and it's a different kind of book. Fun, cute, slice of life. Not a lot of action. If you're looking for that kind of thing, if you're looking for more about just being with a character, just hanging out with a character and being in that person's world for a little while, you will enjoy it. The backup is better than the main story. You should definitely check it out. It's just good stuff overall. But it's not the best stuff. It's not like I'm singing its praises to the point where it's like, unbelievable. It's fine.
Okay.
But it's not but it's certainly harmless, and it's if you are looking for I'm not saying like, oh, skip the main event of something if you are, but don't skip Sins of Sinister for God's sake. But if you have some if you have some extra scratch, give She-Hulk a try. By issue 12, there's no effort to hold your hand and carry you through it. Like, you better know what's going on and who these characters are. But again, there's only 3 characters, so who cares? Cute stuff.
Awesome.
No argument there.
Love it.
Yeah. Real quick, I read Nightwing 103 from Tom Taylor and Eduardo Pansica. Oh, Travis Moore as well. I don't know. This website sucks, and I don't know why we keep using it, but it's my fault. Covers are fun. Yeah, I like it. The story itself is also fun.
Did this one lose you a little bit?
No, the last one kind of lost me a little bit. Just like,
really,
I like it. It's a book that's so good it's easy to forget, and that's a problem. But it's good, and it's doing everything I want to have happen.
Okay.
I think that I am not the best judge of this. This is a good book, and it's doing everything I want to see from DC and from mainstream comics, which is consistent team, high numbers, triplicates.
Right.
And not afraid to let the protagonist succeed. But I also wonder, because there's another character that's young and fun and wears a form-fitting costume and has an active love life, and people just want to see them succeed and be happy.
Right.
I wonder if the Nightwing effect happened to Spider-Man, if Spider-Man would sell as well.
Oh, interesting.
But and if that effect, the effect of me being like, oh yeah, I forgot Nightwing, or oh yeah, well I know that things are going to be okay. They don't need my vigilance. I'll check that out later. If that would affect that book in that same way. But it's a good book.
Yeah. Okay.
It's good stuff. The Titans are in his town, so it's him and the Titans, and it's just like, it's basically a soft Titans book with a reliance on Nightwing and more growth and change. Like, Nightwing is gonna adopt a child, and like, that's
what,
lots of big changes, but in no way is it like
is he like being like, okay, Bruce did this?
No, it's more like he needs to in order to beat Neron, the ruler of hell.
Oh.
And save this little girl.
Oh.
So
does this little girl know that he's Nightwing?
Yeah, it does. I don't know. I didn't read the last issue. So
well, that sounds like that's very.
I'm sure it'll come up.
It's very dramatic. It's very like.
Yeah, it's exactly what you'd want.
Dun.
Yeah, it's exactly this kind of thing you'd expect from a comic book. Cute stuff, fun. No arguments here.
Okay.
Just a good looking book, and good and well written.
Awesome.
How about you, Tiffany? We've heard from me a lot.
We have heard from you a lot, but I like hearing. Do you want to read any super chats or?
Yeah, I guess we could.
You take a little mini break.
Yeah, we'll jump into that for a minute.
We're not going anywhere.
No, we're not leaving because we know that you'll leave.
Don't go anywhere. There's no breaking. We're just we're gonna read what you guys have to say for a second.
That's right. Bringing you into the show, actually.
Get in here.
Like Peach, who says, "Hi, I love you guys. I said a couple weeks ago I'm going to start treating creator runs as arcs in manga, and was wondering what kind of favorite Batman and Spider-Man runs are."
I like the Scott Snyder Batman run.
Oh yeah, no, you should read that. It feels the most like that.
Question everything I was saying. I was like, am I saying all the wrong words right now? What are the words?
I was like, what? No, I agree with you. No, Batman, that Jim Aparo and Alan Grant. That's a great combination. All the detective period of Detective Comics where Norm Brayfogle was on it. You should be reading that. Like, just that detective run is great. And there's a lot of like Marvel Essentials or Marvel Epic collections looking Batman books like that. You should check out. With Spider-Man, it's tougher. It's just, you could read JMS's run the whole way through, but you'd have to read, Sins Past and One More Day and Skin Deep. And so there's 3 huge blemishes on that otherwise celebrated run. I would rather jump into Ultimate Spider-Man or just read Bendis's run with him and Bagley and Immonen the whole way through. Just read that. Cat Lawyer will defend for treats. Love the vid. Great job, Tiffany. Please do more.
Thank you.
We intend to. Hayden Hamilton, more Daniel Warren Johnson on back issues, please. I'd love to do that, man. We were supposed to have Dan on the other day, and it just didn't work out. I guess we got our wires crossed, but I'm hoping that we will. I'm going to reach out and try to rectify that as quickly as possible.
Awesome.
Ray Farr, love the Instagram post. I'm serious about getting those Life Aquatic wetsuits. Ben would look great. Also, Tiffany, thoughts on Ultimate Doctor Strange?
First of all, we don't have the wetsuits, but we do all have hats. We have hats.
We should have worn the hats.
Yeah, we didn't have them, and we didn't know we were doing. Like, I had pitched this, and I didn't think we were actually going to do it, and then we did it.
We did it immediately upon pitching. It wasn't.
But we do have like little
we have orange like beanies,
like neon like knit hats.
Yeah.
For everybody on the team. And I don't have any comment about that.
No. Valiant Shadow, totally get your frustration with ASM. Sal, I'm right there with you, but hearing your thoughts on it always makes it more bearable. Glad you're still taking the time to talk about it somewhat. No problem, Valiant Shadow. Happy to do it. And hang in there because we're going to talk about it.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Sal's just powering up.
Jordan Thrill, so happy to hear about what you love about the ongoing Spider-Man. Phil?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't Thrill. I'm sorry. Jordan Thill. So happy to hear about what you love about the ongoing Spidey run. New episode of Back Issues was great. Been reading Batman No Man's Land. Ever consider doing a bad issues of it? Yes, big time. Yeah. The only thing, the limitation is the set. I just wanted to make it bigger.
Yeah.
Stupid Sandwich. If anybody is singing about Spider-Man, it probably sounds like garbage or garage/grunge music. Yeah, Green Day should do a Spider-Man album. Armed Armadillo, what's poppin', guys? We'll get a Batman Beyond the White Knight back issues ever? Maybe. I have no intentions of doing that book for a while. But not for any reason other than I'm just busy and don't want to do that. Stupid Sandwich also says, as long as we get an overdue Elseworld sequel to Batman Captain America, then bring it on. I don't see that happening anytime soon, but I'm sure you could commission John Byrne to just do it for you. Valiant Shadow also says, not buying stuff out of continuity. That's why I couldn't get into Renew Your Vows, even though it's so much of what I want in mainline. And that's why the book didn't sell. Like my big argument during that time, not the Renew Your Vows Dan Slott book, which was great because it was drawn by Ed Kubert and terrible because it was written by Dan Slott, but the ongoing series with Ryan Stegman on art and stuff was so great, and it was running concurrently with Amazing Spider-Man. And I was like, if Renew Your Vows outsold Amazing Spider-Man, suddenly they would change their minds because they don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care about you or your opinions. They only care about how much money.
Yeah, and they don't think about the fact that it's like, well, we made sure that to let everyone know this doesn't matter, so we're not going to like look at
promote
the numbers.
It. Yeah.
We're also not going to look at the numbers with that lens on. That obviously, if it was anything,
right, it would sell.
It would not sell well because
exactly
because it's outside of continuity.
Yeah. I don't know. And John Bosca says, hey, Sal and Tiffany. Sorry. John Bosa says, hey, Sal and Tiffany. Thanks, Tiffany, for the Indigo Children recommend. It was great.
Right? Awesome. All right. I'm going to talk about a random book really quickly. Captain America Unforgiven came out.
Oh, yeah.
This is that Tim Seeley book, Unforgiven, whatever. So it's like Spider-Man Unforgiven, X-Men, Captain America Unforgiven.
Yeah.
Like I said, written by Tim Seeley with art by Sid Kotian.
Mm-hmm.
I believe this is the last one of the Unforgiven
I think you're right.
books. And this was like simultaneously the best one and also read completely to me like a 90s comic.
It looks like one.
Like, yeah, right? But like just the amount of stuff that happens in this issue.
Right, a lot of compression.
It's a lot of compression. There's a lot of like, there's an info dump. There's, a lot of action happening. There's like, oh, well, okay, here's the solution to our problem right now. Oh, of course. All right, let's do it. Like, it just had that feel. And I'm not saying that's bad or good. I'm really not going to judge it based on that.
Yeah.
But against its others, it was weird because this is clearly supposed to be like there's a through line for these, right? It's the Unforgiven, it's these vampires, it's the storyline from Spider-Man to X-Men to Captain America.
Yeah.
And those felt light now comparatively to this. Almost like this was more the midpoint or the start of something.
Oh.
And there's actually some interesting stuff that goes on in this that I'm like, I kind of wanted to, I wish we could have seen that explored more so than we got in the other two.
Yeah.
But it made more sense to loop. I don't know. There's a moment in this in which, because, I got to tell you, I'm 99% sure, maybe I didn't, but I thought I read Darkhold Omega issue. And they dropped some science in here related to that. And I was like, I just do not, right? I
don't remember that.
I just don't remember that. And it could just be how much I literally just was like, I'm going to forget everything about.
Yeah, because who cares?
After the Alpha and the Iron Man issue, like for me, it's like everything else is just a blur about that whole thing. But that Chthon is gone.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, Jim Steele's paying attention to that. So he's like, okay. He's making this in continuity, clearly, trying to. And our main bad guy is trying to take the place of that. He's gonna do whatever.
Ascend.
He's gonna do whatever he's gonna do. Bad guy stuff, right?
Yeah.
He's got a big leech face. He's gonna do what he's gonna do. As part of that, though, he sends out like the Call of Chthon, and what it does is it's supposed to like bring anyone who's ever had any sort of like
dealings
with vampires or like other sort of were characters and like make them go a little nuts.
Okay.
Right? Like and by that, I also include Man-Thing in this. So I don't really know what's happening with the rest of the mystical stuff, but like we're talking like, Jameson's kid, we're talking Tigra, we're talking Man-Thing,
Jack Russell, that kind of thing.
Yeah, Jubilee. We don't see Jack Russell, but I assume so. Jubilee reverts back to being a vampire.
Oh no.
Yeah, so it's like anyone who's had like that touch of this sort of goes crazy. And I'm like, I want to see that. Like you're trapped in New York.
With vampires. With super vampires.
Right. And I'm like, that's how you bring the X-Men in. Jubilee's become a vampire again. Yeah. It's crazy.
Right. That's awesome.
But
they didn't have time for that.
We just take care of that.
We had to cram 6 issues into 3 issues.
Well, no, it's just that he was telling a different story. He didn't want to tell that story.
Okay.
And I'm like, I feel like I wanted that story.
You shouldn't have teased me with that story.
Right. And the way in which Seeley writes Cap in this, I really enjoyed him. I really enjoyed Cap being in this. He's very much on the fringe, but like he's doing his Cap stuff. He's very stereotypical Cap. He's there with like, I'm gonna take care of things and I'm a leader and doing, whatever he does. But like he has a connection to this story, and I really appreciate him being folded into this world. It's very much sort of that like Batman being folded in, but less that like I don't want to deal with this. I have to deal with this because they're friends or whatever. Like I have to do this thing, and I liked that look. It's just the rest of the book didn't really lead into this issue very well for me. It's just such a different pace in this one,
right? And it had had a bonus of introducing an idea that was more interesting than the main story.
It kind of did that for sure. But
I don't
regret reading it. But if you had any interest in this, I would 100% wait for this to maybe go on sale someplace, whether that be in digital markets or in maybe some, half off bins at your local comic book store.
Undoubtedly.
I'm not saying it's a waste of time, but it was a more costly book, I think. I don't remember how much this one cost. So I completely understand folk not wanting to like go and gravitate towards this. Again, it's a bunch of number ones all underneath the Unforgiven
Unforgiven. So it's going to be like when it comes out, it'll be like Marvel Unforgiven or something.
I guess, but I think it's just their 3 issues. So that's the end of it. So
all right.
Yeah. Oh no, it was only 5. So I guess it's fine. I don't know. It's up to you. I've read this and weird, whatever.
Okay. I guess it'll be called Marvel Unforgiven when it comes out.
Probably.
Interesting.
You want to go for another one?
Yeah.
Just I read X-Force this week, and this felt to me, it's X-Force number 39, written by Ben Percy with art by, I guess, Robert Gill. And I thought this might actually be my jumping off point for a little bit. I was going to be like, okay.
I know. I remember you being like, okay, X-Force, that's enough out of you.
Well, it was more like I was interested in the Beast like plot line.
Yeah.
And I am clearly going to get more of that in the Wolverine book, even though for right now, Krakoa seems to be like,
whatever.
Fun, whatever, who cares?
Yeah.
And as I was reading this issue, that's very much how they pitched it. This starts literally with almost the exact same scene that's in Wolverine, with Wolverine being there with Beast's body, being like, "You screwed up.
Yes.
I'm going hunting." And then he passes Sage in the hallway and it's like, "They're ready for you. Like I queued them up for you. Get in there."
And then Sage takes over this book.
And then she takes over the rest of the book. And I was like, that's solid transition. 10 out of 10. Ben Percy working between Wolverine and X-Force. I really liked that synergy.
Yeah.
And I got to use the word synergy. But she pitches, she's like, "Yeah, you screwed up." And like everyone on the council is kind of like, "Well, like I know Beast got away, but like gotta tell you, like, now's not a great time for us to be dealing with that. There's a lot
Yeah.
of stuff going on.
Plus, like, he's on our team,
and a
so
lot of people really want to get on the island, and we can't fight everyone. And if Beast's out there just doing whatever, I mean, first of all, that's not even sanctioned by us,
right. We can just avow that. Yeah.
But he's clearly doing things in defense of Krakoa. So it's not just Xavier. A lot of people on the team are like, why don't we just let him do what he wants?
Ah!
And I'm like,
what's wrong with all of you?
I'm taking crazy pills, except it works. The way it's written, the way the story's unfolding, I'm like, yeah, no, they would definitely think this. Storm's like, okay, this is okay.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to keep X-Force around and Sage is going to be no, she's like, if we're going to keep X-Force around, I think Sage should be in charge. And she's like, I would love that. So Sage is going to be in charge.
Cool.
Awesome. But they're also like, we probably should have someone from this council on X-Force, since X-Force plays such a heavy hand in everything that goes on.
Yeah, it would be nice if somebody was like able to report to us.
Yeah. And Colossus is like me, and I'm like, and Ben Percy just pulled me right back in to this book, because I'm like, okay, so now we're going to deal with Colossus.
Right.
And I am really looking forward to this one as well, because we all know that Colossus is basically being controlled by someone else at times. And so inevitably, if they fix this, I do wonder how much he's going to remember and how hurtful it's going to be for him. And I'm like, I don't want, I hate to be like, ooh, I can't wait for that.
But it's going to be good.
But it's going to be good. So I'm like, okay, cool. And also at the end of this, Quentin Quire comes back.
Oh!
Well, he's like old.
Oh.
And he's like, I need your help.
Well, they'll just
and I'm
resurrect
like, that
him.
is such a
great tease.
Tropey thing to do, but I still like, he pops out of a portal, he's got a big pink beard, and he's like, oh good, you're all here, I need your help, come on. And I'm like,
get in the time machine,
that
bring her along, this concerns her too.
So I'm like, I really thought I was kind of off this book. This was clearly not going to be following Beast and that storyline,
and it's like, it's not, it's calling Colossus. You're like, oh no.
And the Quentin Quire thing. So Percy's, he'd had a bunch of threads, and he's really trying to pull them back together, and we'll see what happens post Fall of X.
All right.
Oh, am I going for this too?
Why not?
All right, cool. Let's do the last one. Nightcrawler is number 3. I was gonna say trifecta, and then I just didn't. Nightcrawler is number 3. So this is Sins of Sinister Part 10, written by Simon Spurrier with art by Philip Sevi. This basically wraps everything up, but not at all.
Oh, great.
And that's what I have to say for like having an Omega issue for this.
Is this the final issue of all the spin-off books?
All the spin-off books.
Okay, so we're gonna get Sins of Sinister Omega next. And
and it's not like they're just gonna do a cleanup in there. That's the last.
But they need to end the issue.
And I was like, good for them. That's good pacing.
Thank you for making it matter.
It makes that issue 100% matter.
I mean, Sins of Sinister Alpha, I guess, was also really important.
Oh yeah, but that's just the way that these folks are treating this.
But,
Cy Spurrier had been writing Immortal X-Men prior to this.
Yep.
No.
Cy Spurrier had
writing Way of X and Legion of X.
Yes.
Then post that. I just with the word immortal because I had all my X books because I was trying to remind myself what happened in the past 1,000 years. So that was dealing a lot with Mother Righteous and all of like her goings on. We had found out that of course she is a Sinister clone. She's of the heart, because the heart's the diamonds, the spades, and the clubs.
Cards.
And we very much get what I really don't want to give it away. Like what what her plan is.
Yeah.
But I gotta tell you,
it's not great.
No, it's good. It's so good. I was like, oh. And it's really interesting because you have the main Sinister, our Sinister, diamond-headed Sinister, right? And you're like, he's such a mess, and he's such a bastard, and he's just the worst, right?
Yeah.
And then what she did, I'm like, are you the worst? Like, are you the actual worst?
Probably.
I don't know. You're all pretty bad.
Yeah.
You're all pretty bad. But this is leading us into slightly uncharted territories, and this could go either way. This book could either be like it was just a super fun, awesome examination, and now we're back to brass tacks, and maybe there's like some sort of like sleeper thing that could maybe come up later on, or this could completely change a whole bunch of stuff. And I don't know. I'm fine with that either way.
Yes.
But the reveal of like there's like a last page thing that happens, and I'm like, wait, what? I mean, it could be nothing. The Omega issue could just be like, nah, it's cool. Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's not like these 3 writers are leaving, so maybe they don't want to give it all away.
Right? This is really just, it was, I've really enjoyed this ride. All 10 issues. You definitely feel a voice shift just because they have their own
styles,
their own style, their own little like quirks and whatever. But overall, these 9 issues, I should really say, of like these 3 books have been really cohesive.
Yeah.
The first 3 started off just like, let's establish these worlds. By the second set of 3s, they started weaving into one another. And then these last 3s have just literally been just very, very cohesive.
That's great.
It's been a real joy and a pleasure. And I can't wait for the Omega issue, which I'm going to guess is it this week or is it maybe next week? I don't know. But I'm very much looking forward to it. Yep, I see it. Yeah. So
it's called Sins of Sinister Dominion.
There we go. Yeah. Sorry, I thought it was an Omega issue.
I assumed it would be too.
I'm glad it's not that. Good. So hooray! But it's one of those like real treat, real joy for me to read. I do get why folk maybe aren't down for it because they don't know if it's going to play into anything important.
Will it matter? And I'm like, this is all fake, right?
Well, you know what though? But I understand that. Sometimes you want a thought exercise like this, and sometimes people don't. They just want to read the story that they're here for. And I don't want to shame anybody for that either.
No.
Really just loved it. Great. Awesome.
Nice.
A lot of cool moments. She's like, Mother Righteous she just gets under my skin.
Good.
In the right ways.
Yeah. Ray Farr said, wanted to say thanks for you guys for informing me about Anna Senti. I picked up almost all of her Daredevil run in her Edge Typhoid Mary series. Thanks. Nice. Yeah, she's a hoot. What a crazy person she is. Mighty Asterisk. Hey guys, love the channel so much. Thank you very much, Mighty Asterisk. Just wondering, because I never see you guys talk about it, what are your thoughts on Matt Wagner's Grendel? We're not really big connoisseurs of Grendel. We have the books. I've read some of Grendel, but it never really appealed to me too much. I was just never really big into Grendel.
Right.
Now, I love Matt Wagner's art. I loved the look of Grendel, but I never really like caught on to it. And knowing what Grendel's really about, I'm like, meh. Like I don't really care. Grendel's mythology just doesn't really appeal to me too much.
Okay, and I'm very unfamiliar. I think I know the look of one of the covers fairly.
No doubt.
In my head, I think it's a black and white.
There are a lot of them are black and white. Samuel Summers. Never mind. Have you two ever had any books that you hated on first read but love it now? I'm currently reading Ultimate Spider-Man and I love it, but I hated it as a teen. That's fair. That happens. I don't know, man. There's quite a few. I could tell you that, but I couldn't tell you off the Watchmen was one of them. I was like, ugh. And then I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. Now that was probably the biggest of my misconceptions. Meta Knight says, since both of you were teens around its original airing, did either of you watch X-Men Evolution? If so, any thoughts on it? I didn't really watch much of it because by the time there was a third X-Men show, I think that was the second one. It was X-Men and then it was X-Men Evolution, and then I think it was Wolverine and the X-Men. I watched some of it. I didn't watch seasons of it. I didn't watch the finale of it. I didn't watch the pilot of it, but I did catch episodes of it. And I liked the theme, and I liked the presentation. I thought it was very grounded in the movie or movie universe. But overall, I was like, this is fine. I liked it. I wanted to like it, and it was easy to like. That's all I can say about it.
I definitely feel like I watched it like at my grandma's house.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
Peach thanks us for the recommendations. No problem, man.
Oh, thank you.
And
you're welcome.
Paul Williams says, hi, I enjoyed Superboy Man of Tomorrow and Deceased. Nice. So did I. Speaking of which, Superboy Man of Tomorrow from Simon Spurrier. Well, no, it's from Kenny Porter.
Okay, I didn't know that was coming out. I know you probably recommended that last week.
I did.
I didn't remember that he was on it. How was it?
It was good. Yeah, that was Kenny Porter and Yanoi Lindsay.
Oh, wait. Is Spurrier doing a backup?
Yeah, backup.
Why is he relegated to backups?
I don't know. Maybe he doesn't have the time.
What was the backup?
I didn't read it. I was given a preview copy, so I didn't have the full issue.
Oh.
But if you read the main Superboy book, look, you know it's gonna be good. It's Simon Spurrier. But the real question is Superboy Woman or Man of Tomorrow? Superboy Man of Tomorrow. Is it good? It is. It takes place before Superboy joins like the Superman family and all of Philip Kennedy Johnson's machinations. So if you're like, well, where does this fit in? What is Connor doing? Doesn't he feel kind of like irrelevant and like superfluous? This whole series is gonna focus on that. It's all about Connor being like, should I even be here? Do you have a plan for me? Do you need me for anything? And that's what this book is all about. And so he's like, you know what? I am super. I'm pretty well developed as a person. You know, so it's not like Connor needs to learn hubris or he needs to learn, you know, to respect women. Like he's just, I'm fully developed as a character.
Right.
But there's a lot of super characters. What do I get to do? And so he's like, maybe I'll leave and like do a Superwoman Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow type of thing where it's like, maybe I'll just leave and do something over there.
Okay.
So he leaves and goes and he like does some like distress signals and listens out for them and goes to a planet needs help and encounters trouble. And it's a conflict that he will have to overcome. That is super. And it's like, that's great.
All right.
It's a very easy read, a lot of fun references and character moments and a good setup. It also has like virtually no tension, which is like, I'm not complaining, you know, because you know that he's going to end up
because it will get there
where he is now. But it's nice to give Connor a spotlight. This is also one of those like books that was part of that whole like, you know, tree vote for the book and it'll get made, that kind of thing.
Yes.
So here it is. And solid book. I enjoyed it. I'll read the rest.
Does that make you like wonder if the other ones would have been good as well?
I know they would have been good. Yeah, there's a bunch that would have been good. That's not how you make comics.
Right. I get you.
Tiff and I read Joshua Williamson and Jamal Campbell's Superman #3.
I did read that.
Night of the Parasite. This, you know, it's the third chapter.
Short arc.
It is a short arc. Yeah, we're doing mini arcs. That's what he wanted to do.
Mini arcs. Okay.
Mini arcs that are like part of the overall thing. Like the clandestine evil group of villains that want to kill Lex Luthor at the end of this issue.
Yeah.
They've been in at the end of every issue. So like we're paying that off. The what's that name of that guy with the hood with the crystal ball from Sailor Moon?
Oh, Wise Man?
Yeah, it's like the Wise Man.
Oh, okay.
Like, oh, he's in all of the show.
Okay.
But yeah. Fun stuff. Just Superman defeats Parasite. Parasite, of course, has been split off into like microscopic and like he's taken over different people. Superman himself is infected.
Microscopic.
Well, they infect him.
Not the way that they jumped out.
No, that's true. Yeah,
fine, whatever.
Well, they were. I mean, like they've taken over people, and people have become parasites, and they attack Superman. And Superman needs to free Lex Luthor in order to like. Because Lex Luthor's like, come to prison, get me out of here, and I will solve your problem. And Superman's like, no,
I can do this on my own.
Yeah, and then Superman gets infected, and he's like, crap.
So I guess I can't do it.
I guess I can. Because the super family's just trying to like
keep Connor here,
right? No, he is here. He's doing stuff, but
he left.
He left. No, he should leave, but no. The super family's trying to keep Metropolis being like ground zero. Just keep it from like spilling over into the world. And, Superman discovers a unique issue and how to solve Parasite's problem, links in Livewire, and makes it a lot of fun. It's just a purely Superman book.
Yeah.
Feels like a Superman comic.
It did.
That's how it should feel.
And then not in that way where it's, it doesn't feel boring.
Kitschy or boring.
It just felt, I was like, yes.
Yeah.
This felt like when I was reading Superman when we came from Rebirth.
Yes.
So I read it for a while there. And
right, the Tomasi run.
It had a similar like sensation.
Yeah.
Like it made me like I don't know.
It feels effortless.
Yeah, it's effortless and it feels modern, but there's also like a level of nostalgia to like just the way that the stories are told.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
The art's awesome.
Yep.
I love the idea that we get to do a zombie apocalypse.
Yes.
Feel.
Yeah, that's the sell. It's Superman zombie apocalypse.
Right. But it's hard to do that with Superman.
Because, because the impulse is like, well, I guess I'll have him fly through them. I'll have him be a vicious murderer. He'll burn them with his heat vision.
Right. And it's like, well, what if he couldn't?
Right. What if he shouldn't?
Right.
So
couldn't
yeah.
And shouldn't. But like it's Parasite, so he really can't. I'm like, okay, cool.
Well, and they've infected people like Lois, and so it's like I can't just kill them. So yeah. Solid book, great fun. You should definitely be reading the series, and it's easy to jump on. There's 3 issues.
It's easy to jump on. It goes quickly and not in a way where you feel cheated.
No.
Like I said, that the art is so good.
It is, yeah.
Oh.
No, let's hope Campbell sticks around.
Stupid good.
I am Awakeify says, hey, Sal and Tiffany, thanks for all the entertainment over the years. Any chance of Game Pop where Tiffany retells game plots to newcomers? I mean, right now, if you go to youtube.com at ComicPop Plays, you'll see the video game world. That's a good idea. Ali Alziadi, hello. Hope you're both well. I was wondering when you thought the last time Amazing Spider-Man was a solid book. For me, it was Spider Island. Yeah, I mean, Slott had he had ups and downs. I think Superior was a solid, it was a beloved run. The Fodder Box Kid, hope your day's going well. You too, man. I've been reading the Savage Avengers Omnibus, but I'm taking a break to read Doomsday Clock for the first time. Well, good luck to you on that one. The art is phenomenal.
Yeah, it is a dense one, though.
It is, yeah. No, it's true. But Savage Avengers gets great when Peppos gets on board. Logan Thomas, with how Amazing Spider-Man's been, the new back issues brought a smile to my face. Would love for you to do more of Lee, Conway, and Stern runs. Keep up the great work. Me too. That's where I want to be with Spider-Man right now. So I think I should go back and maybe we'll finally do Hobgoblin. Who knows? Danny Ollie, hey Tiff and Wes Anderson. Short was dope. Excellent directing.
Thank you.
I completely agree. Well conceived. By the time we're done, that episode's out. That short is over on the main channel.
Yay.
Dan V900, I thought Deceased War of the Undead Gods 8 felt like the first time it was based on character interactions and not the narration pushing the story. It was like Dark Ages compared to the other Deceased series. Yeah, I guess.
I didn't read it, so I can't say anything.
I mean, if he wants to transition to that, Tom Taylor, Trevor Hairsine, Deceased War of the Undead Gods number 8. It's
this is it.
This is it. The whole series is over, I guess, and that's fine with me.
Wait, it's all done?
Yeah, this is it. This is the finale. Disappointing cover, but yeah, it's
Did they catch all their Pikachus?
Yeah, they did. It wraps up.
Okay, cool.
It wraps up in I think in a thoroughly satisfying way, though. Does rely entirely upon familiarity. It builds off what Taylor set up. So everything that you are on board for is set up. It's not like it's just making things happen to characters because you know those characters and you feel bad for them. No, these are characters that are distinctly the deceased version of those characters, that he does introduce characters like Supergirl in the 11th hour. So it's like, oh, well, that's not really interesting. Or there's not much. Why did you do that? There's not much for her to do.
Right.
But again, there's a million characters, so there's plenty for everybody to do. And it's not like he introduced Supergirl now because he's not going to do more deceased. The reality is they're going to make more deceased. And I don't have it. I think so. Okay. There's no official announcement. And I think they're teasing the idea that this is going to be the end. And I'd be very okay if it was, but I also would be, I've got a bridge in Brooklyn. I'll sell you if you believe that.
Okay.
Otherwise, solid ending. I don't want to give it away. I don't want to ruin it.
No, don't.
Benny sure did when we did Absolute Comics last week. And I was like, why did you do that? He just really wanted to talk about it, and so I get the enthusiasm because it's an exciting, thrilling conclusion of a quadrilogy, of a quintrilogy. There's at least 5 volumes of this series. Yeah, good book overall. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Excellent.
Alziati says, "Hey, any chance of another Scott Snyder interview? Also, any Fantastic Four recommendations besides Wade and Hickman, both of which I really enjoyed. The John Byrne run is one that everyone really enjoys, and I happen to enjoy as well." Not the Dan Slott run. When Mike Wieringo was drawing it, it's just Straczynski. Reed Straczynski's run on Fantastic Four. It's fun. And Scott, I haven't talked to Scott in a while, and I don't see that happening anytime soon. Not because there's any animosity. I just haven't heard from him. And normally when we do that, it's done through Benny at this point, which is a shame because I would like to make it our show. But, such that it is. Tevia says, hey, Sound Tiffany, have you read The Flash with the return of the Super Sons in that book? I was so happy that I wanted a Super Kids book more than ever. No, I didn't read The Flash.
I will eventually.
Right? Because Cy Spurrier is going to be on there.
I'm excited for that. Yeah, they should just do that book even if it's just for more of an all ages book. Just do it. It's fine.
Colin Crumry says, tuning in just to hear what rad indie books Tiffany's reading that I don't know about yet. What are some indie books that you've read recently?
That I read recently? Well, I mean, I wouldn't call it rad. It was very niche for me to pick this up, but and it's not new.
No.
At all. But we were at a dollar bin sale.
Yes, Dewey's Comic City had a dollar bin sale this past weekend.
One of my favorite ways to pick up some stuff that I might have missed, because there's so many books that come out, and I happen to be there not looking for something in particular, and so it's just I was just going through.
Yep.
And I picked up a book called Flavor Girls, which is just a little like 3-issue like series that is a loving tribute to Sailor Moon.
Yep.
And magical girl stuff. So like I said, that's not really typically what you come here for when I'm talking about indie books at all. But
that is what you were reading.
Yeah, that's literally what I just read recently. Other than that, I really what did I read recently? There was something I read just last week that I was like, oh man, I can't wait for more of this. And while I look that up, I'm gonna let you.
Oh well, Cat Lawyer Full Defense Retreat says finally it's a great time to be a Superman fan again. I agree. I think a lot of people are saying that they've enjoyed Superman lately for the Warworld saga and stuff.
Yeah,
this is distinctly Superman feeling.
Indigo Children was great. There was something else that I got. Though. It was that Tynan book.
Yeah.
Oh, World Tree.
World Tree. You read World Tree.
I really did enjoy World Tree.
Yeah,
I read it in physical, so that's why I don't have it.
That's
in
right. That's right.
But.
MNNM says, did Sal finally jump on the Sleepwalker action with the current Hellcat run?
Did he?
I asked, no, I said, yo, Cantwell, I didn't know Sleepwalker's in this book. He said he's in a really big way in this book. And I didn't read Hellcat number 2. So I got to go back.
I feel like we need to take your action figure away from you.
I know.
Now. You're like, you can't have that.
Yeah.
You're not really a fan.
I am not a true fan of Sleepwalker, but I do have his action figure. And he is on my Speeding Bullets Superman flying stand, which is why he has a DC logo on it. But yeah, man, I got to read it. Thankfully, it's only 2 issues. Ray Farr slides $5 on the table. Garfield back issues when? P.S. Give Wash and Ripley pets and treats. I will. Thank you.
Why won't you read my book?
It's not your book. We're not doing Garfield on back issues.
Nah.
But I did meet Jim Davis once.
You did.
And finally, Punisher number 11 from Jason Aaron and Paul Azaceta and Jesus Saiz. The series this is the penultimate issue. The series is ending after 12. We watch Captain America and a few characters that know and hate Punisher fight Punisher. Doctor Strange fights Punisher because of course he's infected with like the Beast. So Doctor Strange is doing like a crazy ass exorcism on him.
They've had some
doings.
I think that was not in continuity.
I don't think. I don't think Magic Bullets was in continuity. But yeah, I remember reading a page out of context, and people were outraged, and I'm like, I can't even imagine people being this upset still. Incidentally, the thing people are upset about was also echoed in another Punisher book like years ago. It was written by Aaron. So Aaron has a real opinion about Frank Castle and his relationship with Maria. And the idea is that Maria was going to divorce Frank at the big murder of her and her family. And now Maria sees while Punisher is fighting all the heroes that take the time to fight him, Maria goes into like the archives and sees everything that Frank Castle has done in her and her children's names and is disgusted.
Oh.
And I'm like, yeah. Is it what I thought it was going to be at the halfway mark? No. Like I kind of thought that Maria was like way into it. I was like, that's a fun twist. And it's like, nah, Maria thinks he's a piece of shit. And I'm like, yeah.
She was kind of into it. And then like maybe the reality of things set in. She's like,
right. And I'm like, yeah, that's fair. Okay. But there's some great character moments in here. Retconning notwithstanding.
Okay.
I have no problem with with Maria wanting to leave Frank at the 0 hour. There's a fun like little character moments where like I guess like Frank needed a project when he wasn't like killing people and before he became the Punisher, and so he like buys a van and it's like, oh, that's the origin of the battle van.
Okay.
And I love that he's going off and he's doing Punisher stuff before he becomes Punisher, and there's a private investigator that's following him around, and he tracks down the private investigator and just says, just tell her I'm having an affair, please. And he does, and Maria doesn't believe him because of how scary because of how scared that guy was.
Okay.
And I'm like, it's really well written and it's beautifully drawn and it's peak Marvel Comics. Like Marvel doesn't make a lot of books like this, and you gotta give it that. It is divisive to be sure, and I totally get that. So if you are lost, if you're like, no, when it comes to the divorce thing, I totally get you. I get you, and I don't I'm not going to argue with you.
Yeah. Okay.
So, you know what I mean? Like, that's how I feel about that, where it's like, I kind of dig it. I dig this whole thing. The last 3 or 4 issues have not been as strong as the first like 6 or 7. Also, cool because when Doc goes to fight Frank, he wields a big magical axe.
Hey, that axe is not like that's it's coming back. Like Wade tried to
do something with it. Yeah.
No, they were like, it's fine.
Yeah.
But it's back. It's in Midnight Suns. It's
yeah,
like that axe is part of him now. It's
right.
part of his history. And I'm like, that's cool.
And Frank doesn't like pants Doctor Strange. It wasn't like, oh, watch as Frank Castle's more powerful than Doctor Strange. No, he just gets away from him.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, everyone gets to retain their dignity.
That makes more sense. Yeah.
Like,
that's
it's
good.
cool.
Sorry, I tapped your foot.
That's fine. And Cap versus Punisher, like, it's good stuff. It's what you'd expect.
Okay.
And
excellent.
I love it. He's just like he's just like, that's enough. Like, your commanding officer's giving you an order, knock it off. He's like, okay. And I'm like, good stuff overall. I love that series. I can't wait for it to end because I think it's a fantastic book that deserves an ending, and I want to see where it goes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, and Dante Cook says, The Forge is so good. I love anything Indy Rucka does.
Yeah. Is it The Forge or The Forged? Because I was going to read that this week, and then I remembered I had it in physical. And we were at the comic book store, but I was so focused on dollar bins, I didn't pick it up.
No, I forgot about that too.
It's that big, oversized one.
Yes.
Yeah, I read that when it came out, and I enjoyed that as well. It's if you're looking for something that is definitely rated M for mature, but also sci-fi themed and like not like heavy-ish on the sci-fi, but it's definitely penetrable.
Okay, good.
But like you got like crazy weird sci-fi things going on here. You got like mech driving chicks. Like,
it's kind of fun.
Some cool stuff happening.
No argument here,
for sure.
Monkey says, just want to show my favorite channel some love. The whole crew is awesome. Catch you on the repeat. Thanks, Monkey.
Thank you very much.
Hayden Hamilton, Justice in 52 on back issues, please. They will happen at some point someday, I promise. Ray Farr, lol every time Sal has to read my Garfield requests. Okay. And
it's funny. Like the idea of Garfield
okay, so Garfield eats his heart out in this one. Hayden Hamilton, I loved going over the classic stories this week. Yeah. Thanks. Isaac Roberts.
Sorry, guys. There was a fly.
No, I know. I saw it too. It's that season. Think we'll get Gotham Year 1 on back issues soon.
Sorry.
Probably not soon, but we will get it. Because it's an incredible series that's worth the time. People should read it. If you haven't already, read all 6. It's only 6 issues of Gotham City Year 1. And finally, let's talk about Spider-Man. Now, this isn't really a review. It's by Zeb Wells and John Romita Jr., but it's certainly the topic of discussion for a lot of people. I saw a lot of TikTok videos about it, so I can only imagine how long the YouTube videos are about it. People are really upset about Spider-Man and what this implies, and I wanted to talk about it because it's not so much that Spider-Man. So there are a lot of misconceptions and misunderstandings about the reason to be mad and why people are upset, right? So in this issue of Amazing Spider-Man, we find out what Peter Parker did, and there's a lot of things that are,
what did he do?
What did he do? Well, Zeb Wells unearths a character that no one cared about that he invented back during Brand New Day and makes that the antagonist of this story arc. And I can understand why they didn't make it the first arc, because they would have lost everyone. And they also, it would have been too big out of the gate. I get why they did it. I don't agree with it, and I don't think that's how you should do it, but I get why they did it. I understand the whole, I get their 3D chess.
Yeah.
For why this wasn't the opening arc, even though the mystery box of 6 months later, what did Peter Parker do, is horseshit. But this monster comes out of the woodwork, and he's got a guy, and there's this character Paul, and he's an archaeologist, and he's been looking into it, and some bullshit happens, and Spider-Man, Mary Jane, and Paul end up in this alternate dimension, which has time dilation, and so they're trapped in the future, or they're trapped in another dimension in the future, or their time is going faster while they're in the time dilated universe. And this creature wants to kill Spider-Man, and they spend the equivalent of a few weeks, which is only a couple of minutes or whatever, in the main universe, developing the suit that Peter Parker can use to send Mary Jane into the original universe, so she'll be safe. But she, of course, is like, no, I gotta save you, because like whenever these editors want to pretend like they care about Mary Jane and give her agency, she also, for her troubles, thinks for Peter and sends him away or hurts him in some way. So because it's all manipulation to try and get the reader to not like her, or to disagree with her. And that's one of the big problems with people's criticism of this book, is that they're treating them like the real people.
Yeah.
We'll get to there.
Okay.
So Peter gets sent back, and he's like, I know about the time dilation. I got to go. I've got to go back. And that's when the explosion happens, and he hides his Spider-Man costume because it's all shredded, and he's got to go from, like, I don't know, New Jersey or Long Island or whatever back to Manhattan. He's like, I got to build a machine, the machine that I built before, but I got to use like the resources here, and I have to do it now. And so, at the beginning of this whole story arc, this run, no one in the superhero community likes him. And it's because he didn't sit down and spend time to explain his situation to any of them, because the plot needed to happen. And time, it's ticking clock. Every minute I'm here is like a day over there or something, or a week over there. So I need to have already built it, basically. Like, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for pleasantries or to explain anything. And so, all these characters are deliberately obstinate because they have to be, and he, but also reasonable because they have to be, because it needs to be tragic. It needs to be like sad that this character is essentially being reduced from any of the advances that the character has made over the last 25 years. So, he severs his relationship with the Fantastic Four, steals their shit. The Avengers, same deal. He fights Captain America, and it's like, oh, watch this. Like, look, just because I'm assassinating this character doesn't mean that, like, it isn't cool to see Spider-Man beat Captain America. Now you have your trading card to say that Spider-Man has a 7 strength, whereas Captain America has like a 6.
Right.
So Spider-Man goes into the arms of the Green Goblin, Norman Osborn. He's the only one who's got like the resources, the know-how, and the patience to do it. So and that's why they're friends, right? Or that's why he's willing to forgive the fact that he statutorily raped his girlfriend and murdered her off a bridge. Never mind the fact that they retconned that, but never mind that. But so they do it, and he sends back, and he gets there, and he's here. And I love how desperately how it's written in this, the issue that we're talking about now. That's all context to get to this issue. In this issue, he builds the suit, he jumps into the new dimension. While that happens, the bad guy who is tormenting Mary Jane and Paul goes, I'm not going to do this anymore, and then just goes away.
What?
He just knocks it off. Because he doesn't matter anymore, because it never mattered, because we just need to get to this. So like this big bad guy just like leaves. Like I've read it 3 times, and I can tell you, like, it's just like he seemingly is like, I've got this big thing, and then Spider-Man's like, no, and he's like, oh, okay, and he just leaves. And then Paul kills the dude who was like the avatar for it. Just he walks up behind him and just stabs him in like a 2-panel sequence. It's like there's no time or dedicated to it, because that's not what's important. What's important is that is that this issue presents that because of time dilation, Mary Jane and Paul just fall in love with each other, have 2 children. That like the 2 days that Spider-Man spent looking for her was like the equivalent of 8 to 10 years. And that during this like hellish, like, interdimensional time, Mary Jane fell in love with Paul, and they conceived and gave birth to 2 children. That's the implication of the issue, which I don't necessarily buy, because this is a classic Marvel this is a classic Marvel redirect.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, maybe they found them, maybe they weren't from there, who knows? But let's take it at face value, because that's what they want you to do. And
maybe it wasn't 10 years. Maybe it's like,
right, maybe
they're it's all in her head,
right?
How long they were there, and these kids are
a figment of her imagination.
They're all fake. No, I mean they're real, but they're not hers or whatever.
Yeah, I mean there's any way. Like the thing is, they're trying to introduce like a lot of stuff that makes it.
I guess you could be able to tell. You could do like a test on her to see how old she is or something. Yeah. I don't know, science.
I think
magic science.
I think that this is the situation. I think that Marvel knows that any writer that's going to work for them is never going to do as much research as the fans that read it. So they don't care, and they're like, here's this thing. Here's this new status quo. the people who take over Spider-Man from Zeb Wells in like the next 10 years will only read the last like few issues of the Zeb Wells run. Like they're not going to know or care about it even. So it doesn't matter. Like, but the reality is any of this can be undone with any amount of whatever, you know, and maybe
I mean, it can and it can't. Like, it can be undone for those characters. Those characters can forget or pretend like it never happened.
Or time travel makes it unhappen.
But it's harder. It doesn't really affect the reader. The reader doesn't have.
The reader will never forget that it will happen.
Yeah.
Well, and the problem is like Peter Parker didn't do anything, which means that the question, what did Peter Parker do, is not about the explosion or the time dilation. It's about what he's going to do in the next couple of issues. And that's what Marvel is now teasing. And Marvel is doing a very good job of riling up the audience to say, like, something's going to happen in the next issues or the next 2 or 3 issues. And I don't think that like Mary Jane will ever forget. Like, something's going to happen. And Zeb Wells shouldn't go to any conventions for a while because he will be threatened. And that's what like Marvel editorial has said out loud, which I think that is inflammatory and inappropriate to say out loud.
I think it's very
as a company.
And
I think that as an audience, you should prove them wrong by being your best selves online and in person.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to I would hate it. I would be so like disgusted if anyone did, said, or acted in any way that was disrespectful, disgraceful, or threatening.
No, the best way
in our name.
The best way to get them is to ignore it.
Exactly.
Like that's the most hurtful thing you can do.
The most hurtful thing you can do is be apathetic towards their BS, their books, their ideas, their implications. You know, the problem is the purchasing of these books, and the problem is the rhetoric that is surrounding it. You know, people are like, I hate this book and I read it every week, and I'm like, what are you doing? I picked up this book because I believe in not pirating comics, but I wanted to be informed in the discussion. But I have not picked up this book in the last couple of for a while because I just don't believe in the series.
Right.
And that's the way you should be doing it, you know, and pick up the book when it's applicable or when you need to know what's going on. But like, if you want to make a stand, you want to say something, just don't buy it. And you should not buy it in droves. Like, that's the only way it will ever succeed.
Like, it's okay to take it off your pull list.
It's okay to drop it. The book will be in 1,000 long boxes at dollar bin sales at Dewey's and Zap and, you know, Comic Fortress, everywhere you go to get comics.
Yeah.
You can go recollect your old Spider-Man run of books you hate at a severe discount. And it will also hurt the people who don't respect you enough to give you a story that's worthwhile. That being said, there's a lot that they're like giving you. It's disrespectful and it's disgusting to see Marvel editorial using characters and the world around it for marketing purposes.
Yeah, weaponizing
it, because I saw people taking this very seriously.
Sure.
Like, I'm taking it seriously where I'm talking about the industry and like the comic book, you know, audience. You know, don't debase yourself by being a lesser version of yourself in public or conventions.
No.
But don't like make a TikTok video being mad at Mary Jane for cheating on Peter Parker. Like, that is the most unhinged I've ever seen. I've seen at least 3 of them, and they have like way more views than this video will ever get. And I'm like, why? Like, are you doing it on purpose? Like, do you know that you are talking about fake characters, and you're trying to manipulate the audience that that are watching what you're doing?
Yeah.
Into watching what you're doing, or are you that delusional you think they're real people? Because
it's a bad scenario no matter what.
Like, it's terrible. Like, Mary Jane is not a real person. And getting mad at this fake person for cheating on another fake person.
It's okay to get like annoyed.
It's annoying. Like, initially, I could get like the bristling.
Right. Well, I mean, like, and it's okay to have a conversation about it. Like, you know, like, I'll be like, oh, I feel like that character wouldn't act like that. Like, that's different.
That's different from being mad at her.
Than like having, you know, like, at that point, I'm like, well, it's the writer.
Yeah.
But like, and again, you don't like.
But don't get mad at the writer. They'll be like, "Hey, Zab, I'm gonna get you." Like, it's crazy.
Want to like take your vengeance and wrath out on them, ignore them.
Yeah.
They're like a mythological creature.
Yes.
They need attention.
Yes.
They need you to pay attention to them and to talk about them and to,
make TikTok videos about how mad you are. And
no matter what it is, that's that they live off of that. It's like their life force.
Yes. That is how they succeed. And that is how they know it, and they know that it's like that they can use it.
Yeah.
You can't buy that kind of publicity.
No, you can't. If you don't feed it, then it withers.
Yeah. And
they have to go somewhere else and find it.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk about it now because this is the last time I'm going to talk about it for a while. I don't want to talk about Spider-Man anymore. I don't want to talk about Star Wars anymore. I don't want to talk about things that make me upset or make the audience lose their effing minds.
Right.
About that, because there's better stuff out there.
Right.
And the best revenge you can have is to just take all your money and energy and put it into patreon.com/comicpop. No, no. To buy Daredevil.
Yeah, buy something else.
Buy Batman, buy Doctor Strange. Yeah. Buy a book that no one believes in. And pre-order it, but tell your comic book store, tell yourself, like, I'm not buying this book anymore. I'm just dropping it. I'm taking it off my pull list. I don't want to read this anymore.
Yeah.
Because like it's only filling your life with negative energy, and it's only it turns you into a commercial for them.
Yeah. And I want to just based on conversation I'm seeing, I want to make sure that folk understand you're allowed to react to what a character does. What we're saying is that don't go out there and be like, I can't believe that this character did this because they're real.
Right.
Because whatever. Don't create marketing for this company.
Right.
If you're doing something that you don't want. Don't threaten a creator's life or, even jokingly.
Yeah.
Don't do it. It's not. It
only makes you look bad. It makes the community look bad. And it ruins it for everybody.
Yeah, it's
and Zeb Wells is not a bad creator. He's hilarious. He wrote for Robot Chicken, did an amazing job. He wrote Hellions, which you all enjoyed.
Yeah.
And he's writing those Marvel movies.
Yeah. So it's like, we were talking about how I'm in Sins of Sinister, Destiny, Mother Righteous, those two characters drive me crazy.
Right.
Drive me crazy. I can't stand them. But I'm not gonna get mad at anybody. I'm like, they're well written.
Yes.
That's the type of reaction you should have to characters. Or you're just like, oh, that gets me. I can't believe they're doing this.
When they're gonna get theirs. Because they're a villain in the story about heroes.
And even if they don't, because I've consumed lots of media where
where the villain wins, or the villain doesn't get their
or it just goes sideways, and it's just like, it's a good story. It's I want to talk about that. I want to be like, oh my gosh, right? But when it starts taking over your life, and when it starts becoming something that drives you,
that's your white whale.
Yeah,
you need to get a new whale.
Well, it's it's like, okay, you need to maybe take a step back,
right, and go. You know what? I remember getting so upset about One More Day, and I got so upset. I emailed Joe Quesada, and by the way, I didn't threaten him. I wrote a very long-winded, boring email about illustrating the differences and the issues and the impact on the industry and the impact on the sales of the book and blah blah blah. Don't do that. But I didn't know how else to rationalize it, right? And because nobody else wanted to talk to me about it. But I just stopped buying. I was like, I'm not reading the book because I know what they're doing. They're sacrificing what I like for new readers. And so I didn't buy Brand New Day. People are like, oh man, I love this thing. I'm like, I don't know anything. I don't know what you're talking about. And it doesn't hurt. And I'm still making a show about comic books, even though I have this huge gap in my life, in my memories. I could I could go back and read Brand New Day because now it doesn't matter. Now it doesn't help them, But I chose not to do it. And it was, it didn't affect them. The record sales, it made careers, it created new characters that I like.
Yeah.
Characters that are going to be in movies and video games and stuff. Good for them. But, that was my stand. Was I'm not going to, okay, they don't care about me. They're not interested in me. They want new readers. They want this. Does it feel like they're doing something insane and they feel like they're, cutting their nose to spite their face? Yeah. But look at the numbers. The such that they are. The problem is anybody who says that they know exactly how sales are going on the comic book industry are lying to you. Anybody who says this is the numbers, they show you charts, they're lying to you. They are using selective information, smaller microcosms of information. They're not using full-blown information. They don't know. They're using what they have access to, which is not everything, because that's just how it works.
Yeah.
Marvel does not share their sales data. End of story. So you will never know how Amazing Spider-Man sells. Not definitively. So think about that when you're using numbers to try to justify your opinion. Just but don't think about it like that, because the worst of it for me, the reason why I even got upset about it was because I was like, I'm watching people get really upset about like Mary Jane.
Yeah.
And they're saying like and it's triggering something for them. Clearly, like they feel upset, and they feel wronged, but like it turns into something else.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this is, where they go, this is just like a woman to do this. And I'm like,
I didn't know that had come.
It's just it's on the edge of a knife.
Wow.
When it comes to that kind of rhetoric, when you start like sex shaming, when you start slut shaming fictional characters,
right?
you lost. You know what I mean? And like, but it's a slippery slope, is my point. Like, don't get mad at Mary Jane for cheating on Peter. First of all, you don't know all the context. You don't know if they're fictional, they're magic, if she's brainwashed, blah blah blah.
Right.
But also, even if she did, she's fake.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt you. And it's not indicative of all women. It's written by a man who was told by a man to write this story about a man. And just that was the thing that really made me go like, we got to have this conversation about this.
Okay.
And I don't want to come across as lecturing. I just wanted to like go, let's have a different kind of conversation about this book, where it's like, look, the people in charge are manipulating the book.
Yep.
And the book itself is not terribly well written, but it's selling like crazy. According to, you got it. You killed the fly. But like, and it's selling like crazy from what I hear and from what I've seen. But again, and the reason why I even say that, why I say the book sells so well, is to offset the echo chamber.
Yeah.
Because like, look, if you get enough if you get enough like-minded individuals in one room, it makes you think that that's the whole world.
Sure.
And
sure.
It ain't.
No, it's
when it comes to anything, but especially Spider-Man.
It's like being in the cave and all you're seeing is the shadows.
That's right.
That's what you think the world is.
Yeah. It's not. Or it's not always. And so saying like, this is horrible and this is ruining everything and it's destroying Spider-Man and it's selling great is a great way to kind of like bring you back to reality, because you're reminding yourself like, but there's a huge audience
that's buying it. And you don't know why.
Yeah, and you don't know why.
And I think it's important also, because I think we can all agree that Sal's very passionate about his characters,
about my fake stuff,
about characters, about story, and I think we all have those moments.
Sure.
And I think it can be difficult to see the line.
Yeah.
And I think we've all had moments where maybe it's like, oh wait, am I going over a line here?
Mm-hmm.
Is this too much?
Yeah.
Especially when what others might be trying to get you to do, and I'm not saying like other people in like the comic community. I'm talking right now very much about like Marvel's like, no, I want you to talk about this. Even if you hate it, I want you to talk about this. I want you to do that. And I don't like the idea of them trying to fill you with that sort of energy,
right?
That sort of feeling, because that's this life is too short.
That's true.
It's way too short, and it may not seem like it, but it is. It's not enough time, right? Like it's gonna to fill it with that type of feeling that is partially manifested by someone else.
Yeah.
It may.
Well, it's the machinations of somebody else. Like you're playing right into their hands.
Yeah. Like, feel free, like, get passionate about story. Feel free to get connected to characters and
be upset when they falter, or make mistakes or err.
But just be careful how far you go with it.
Yeah. But this will be the last issue of Amazing Spider-Man I buy for a while.
Cool.
I'm gonna stay plugged in. Like, I'm sure I'll be aware of it. I'm trying not to, because I don't care. Like, that's the worst of it.
It's better.
This is one of those things I'm talking about, where it's like, normally you just be sick of Spider-Man because of the oversaturation, the overexposure. Like, Spider-Man's the Mickey Mouse of Marvel. He should be everywhere. He should be in every event. He should be the linchpin of every story. He should be in every single cameo. Like, he should be on every team.
Mm-hmm.
And yet he's not. And that's another problem, which is interesting, where it's like, he's relegated, and it may be because of the Sony factor. Maybe it's like, well, every time we create a character in Spider-Man's main books, it becomes a Sony ownership. Which is true. That's how it works in the contract.
Yeah.
Like when a character is created in Amazing Spider-Man or any Spider-Man book with Spider-Man in the title, it goes to Sony.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel has no access to that character. And if you can argue that it's a Spider-Man event, even like a massive event, like if Spider-Man is too important in the book, it's a Spider-Man event and Sony gets it. It's just like, ugh.
That's...
Can you imagine the kind of tightrope and juggling that you're doing?
I don't care for that because it's another instance of the movies controlling the comics,
which is
its own
repugnant. But as a result, the audience doesn't have like a lot of options. They're reading Spider-Man twice a month, and so where else am I going to go to get my Spider-Man fix? It's like, well, you can go to Miles, and it's like, I'm a Peter booster. And it's like, I hear you, and how many times am I going to read the old books? And it's like, you know what? Maybe now's a good time to go back to a run you didn't read. Read the Peter David run on Spectacular, Web of, Unlimited. There are a bunch of books that lasted a long time that you probably didn't check out. There's a whole run of Saviuk drawn Web of Spider-Man books that I'm like, no, I did not read. Maybe I'll start.
Yeah.
They'll probably be better than this. But anyway, Spider-Man sucks. Water is wet. What do you Harishi Venkatesh, hey guys, love the show. Omega Men back issues when? I don't know. But more likely than not.
Yeah.
He also says, also, I like Zeb Wells' Hellions, so I want to wait until the end of the run before I rain hate upon him so I can hope for a retcon. Paul is Mephisto? I mean, like,
I appreciate that. You want to look at the product as a whole as opposed to, I appreciate that. I think that's a great idea.
Like, I'm not a big fan of like Jameson knowing who Spider-Man is, but I didn't like freak out because Zdarsky wrote a really nice story about it. It was like, oh, that was really well executed. It created a nice status quo for the character. But and is it harder to fix? Is it? I mean, one Doctor Strange move, it's over. And that's the thing. Never forget that. Paul, the children, Mephisto, all that. Doctor Strange has to show up to one issue.
Yeah, but again,
it's over.
We've never forgotten about the slap.
Oh, the Hank Pym slap?
Yeah.
But we did forget about the one that Peter gave.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, regardless of if you get rid of it or not, we have, like...
The audience has a long memory.
Yeah.
That's true. But the audience is shrinking. So,
That's also very true.
Ray fart. I'm just gonna stay in my corner reading 70s and 80s Spectacular Spider-Man. Why was May mad at Peter if he robbed superheroes? I don't know. Definitely read those though. Yeah. Yeah. I think she was mad at him because he dropped out of like graduate school. KT8 3976 went 7 years not buying Amazing Spider-Man and had no problem doing it again, but I'm liking this discussion either way.
Yay.
See what I mean? Just no, I'm not gonna read that. Oh well, time for me to get off. Like, that's usually how it goes with me. Chunky Jesus, great name. Hey Sal, what are your top 3 flavors of LaCroix?
Oh,
I always see you drinking it, so I'm curious. I'm partial to limoncello and key lime. Ooh, I do not like the sweet ones are not for me. I like
you haven't tried those yet.
Yes, I got a whole variety pack.
Have you tried the limoncello?
Yeah, no, we got it. I don't know who drank it.
Key lime is sweet.
Yeah, well, it tastes like a key lime pie.
Oh, I want that.
Well, I'm sorry.
You did like the lime.
Yeah, I like the lime. I like the orange.
Yeah. He's pretty
citrus based.
Pretty citrus based and pretty like don't go nuts with the flavors.
Yeah, well, there's a coconut one I really didn't like. Davy 900 Nick Lowe said that Zeb Wells pitched the story, which I don't completely believe. It feels editorially driven. I couldn't believe he said that about Wells. The comic selling incredibly well is an issue. It's an issue only as much as like, who's saying that? Where's the data coming from? How is that possible? Obviously, the book is selling well. It's not because Spider-Man and Mary Jane aren't married, or it's not because of the Paul situation, because they haven't been in enough issues for it to justify it. It's about
you'd have to do a lot of research as to like where those sales are coming from. Like, are we looking at just how comic book stores are like purchasing them? How many do they have left at the end of the day? How many are just people who have pull lists who they just aren't thinking about it and they just buy the pull list,
right? And then they put it into a sleeve and put it into a long box.
Like there's a lot of factors here, and it's too much for anyone to take on. But it's hard to tell.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that Zeb Wells pitched that story because I wouldn't be surprised if Zeb heard. I mean, look, you want to write for Marvel, you want to write for Spider-Man, you want to be the flagship writer, and editorial is a hard on for effing up Spider-Man's relationship with Mary Jane.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a good pitch to give. I have a pitch that will make it impossible for Spider-Man and Mary Jane to get married again. Well, lock the door. Let's hear it.
Mm-hmm.
I could definitely see that happening. I don't know if it's necessarily that like, Machiavellian,
right?
But it could be. I mean, like at the very least, I do see that like, I don't want to deny that any one book isn't somebody's. It's very rare that happens, but it's happened. Let's put it that way. And it's happened more recently than not.
Okay.
So yeah, here we go.
What?
Denial says, so do we all agree that upcoming Spider-Man Fallen Friend story is going to be about Robbie or Randy dying? I don't know. I don't care. Won't be reading it. I don't even know that Fallen Friend is officially about Spider-Man. Couldn't care less. That's the thing. You do enough of this crap to me, I'm just gonna get apathetic. I'm just gonna get burned out and not be interested. Cat Lawyer will defend for treats. Thank you, Sal. Spider-Man. Thank you, Sal, for promoting healthy reading habits. Miles of Spidey is so good right now. Superman wouldn't be this good if people kept buying the Bendis run. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Josh wouldn't have had that opportunity. J-Man27 Joester says, I enjoy the Amazing Spider-Man run, but considering that comics can be retconned at any moment by any upcoming writers, no reason to be upset about anything. I mean, that's pretty apathetic to be. I like this thing, but why be upset or feel anything if anyone can undo it? Ray Farr, can't wait for the upcoming Spider-Boy movie from Sony. Spider-Boy? Yeah, they own him now. Grayson Red, I've heard you say multiple times in the past 2 years that you're done reading Spider-Man for a while. Sorry, my good brother, I don't believe you. Yeah, no, I mean, like, all I need to do is get one good story and I'll read it.
Yeah,
like,
no, he'll be done for a while. And trust me, he means it.
Yeah, like
when Sal says he's not reading it, like I'm just
not.
He'll
just
read
drop
something
out.
else.
Yeah,
like,
there's plenty to read.
Yeah, like 100%.
And that's the thing. Like, I don't like holding people to like the. I get you on like I never at any point said I will never read another Spider-Man comic ever as long as I live. It's more like I'll never trust Marvel editorial for as long as I live. I'll never believe that any Spider-Man story is stronger than editorial mandate.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not like, I'm not gonna quit reading a good book.
Right.
That's the thing. Mr. Sabotage. Oh. Mr. Self-Sabotage says, I haven't picked up Spider-Man since Superior. So glad I haven't. One of the best Spider-Man stories. Can you imagine? Can you imagine being on that kind of high? Like, I read Superior and then I just stopped. That's a good high.
That's really cool.
It's a good period to be in.
Yeah.
Dan V900. Tom Brevoort is not the direct ASM editor, but his mentality was saying controversial comics aren't well received, sell better than comics people like is awful. I wish it were different. I don't remember Tom saying that, but I do know that's a prevalent theory in the Marvel bullpen. Certainly, that is a Quesada approach, and it has been a Marvel approach for 25 years, maybe 45 years, 55 years. Marvel's always been inflammatory. It's just that you haven't always loved the character. The Funny Joker 42. I love ComicPop. Well, I love you. Thank you very much, Funny Joker. And Nick Del Tufo, off the racks, coming for comics, stay for the discussions.
Well,
right?
That's very kind of you.
Thank you very much, man. And finally, let's get into some recommendations for comics that are coming out this week that we think you should buy. Daredevil 10 is coming out. Chip Zdarsky, Marco Cicchetto. Yay. Great book. Green Arrow #1. Josh Williamson, Sean Isaacs. This is a new run on Green Arrow. You love Green Arrow? Pre-order the book. Tell them, pre-order me the series. It's 6 issues. So you're literally pre-ordering 6 issues. Just tell them, pre-order the series for me, because you're only on the hook for 6 issues. Same deal with Doom Patrol, by the way. But like when you just do the research or you ask us, be like, hey, how long is this run? I'll try to find out for you. But like Green Arrow, if you love Green Arrow and you're like, how come Green Arrow's only getting 6 issues? It's because not enough people pre-ordered it. Not enough people are buying it. So prove them wrong, pre-order it.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way you're going to do it.
Everything else is me,
and everything else is you. But Wooly Nix says, "Do you think Ultimate Peter is going to come back?" I think he already is back. Depending on who you ask, he's back.
So I had a really light week this week.
You did,
or last week. So this week, there's a lot more.
Yeah.
Gargoyles #5 is coming out.
Yay, Gargoyles! This is the first different cover. This is the first cover I've gotten from this series.
What do you mean?
Look at the previews. Just click preview. They've all been really big, bombastic. Look at the. I guess that's more.
No. This is they're like alternating a little bit here.
Yeah.
No, it's all good.
All right.
Yeah, Gargoyles #5. I like this.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say about that. Strange Academy Finals #6 is coming out. I can't wait to see how this.
It's the finale.
Oh, is this it?
Yeah.
Oh, it is it. Wow. Well, at least according to this website.
Yeah.
The end of an era. Error. We don't dare spoil it. Fair. A lot has happened. I don't want to ruin it for you, but
But if you haven't already, there's only 6 issues of finals.
It's such a good book. It's so fun. Like Scotty Young, Humberto Ramos, they've
been
carrying Strange Academy since it's like
inception.
Yeah, so definitely go back, get the rest of this book. It's a lot of fun. Doctor Strange #2 is coming out. I love that Nightmare's here, especially post him being
in the X-Men.
Yeah, I'm like, are we gonna deal with that or no? I don't know.
What a great Alex Ross cover.
So
looks like a Fear Street novel.
It looks like a scary kids book. There we go. Indigo Children #2 is coming out. I really enjoyed Indigo Children. It's an Image book. So if you missed this, all you have to do is grab the first issue and you can be on the same page as I am.
Yeah,
a lot of fun. Like weird. A lot of fun. I can't wait to learn more about that world. And then, of course, the thing I'm the most excited about for this week, but I'm also not, because I'm really going to miss this.
Yeah.
Sins of Sinister Dominion #1 is coming out. Wait, no, this is a tie-in.
What?
It says it's a tie-in. Oh, no, this is part 11.
Yeah, it's Gillen.
I got really excited for a hot second. I was like, oh,
there's more!
I would literally trick my brain into having more for this. I don't care.
I wonder if it, I wonder how it sold.
I don't care.
Because if it did, you get more.
Yeah, no, it's true. No, I don't want more of this. I just want more of this collective group, because what a great experiment. 3 writers tackling this project.
Yes.
And it worked. You get 3 writers who talk to each other and know one another. Really
working together, exactly.
Kieran Gillen, Paco Medina. Yes, please.
Please write more.
Please write more. That's all I have to say. I can't wait.
But so good. Yeah. Comic Book Monster. I think that's the next one. Comic Book Reader. Sorry. I don't know why I went
just
Monster.
Making it up.
Comic Book Reader. Thank you for this and how you framed it. You're right. The audience is being manipulated to be upset, and we need to stop falling for the machination.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Absolutely.
But we want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thanks for putting up with my bullshit. And of course, thank you so much for your super chats, for sponsoring today's show, keeping the riffraff out. I've gotten a lot of emails over the past couple of weeks from weirdos who are like, I got an email that was like from a sponsor that was like, here's some nonsense. And I was just like, nah, I just deleted it. And I got another email from somebody, from the same person, who was like, I hope you're not ignoring me. And I'm like, get out of here, you creep.
I assume that's just the rest of the form letters now.
Right? That's exactly right. They're trying to guilt me into taking a sponsorship. You're right. Death Insanity. After destroying MJ, how long till Black Cat? I enjoyed your opinion. Thanks. I don't think they're gonna, because I think Black Cat, depending on, people didn't like the Kevin Smith retcon that she was like sexually assaulted in college. People didn't like the pre-Jed McKay period. Jed McKay's run, people really loved. Black Cat has been through the ringer. So, the only time they're going to care is if Peter pops out a ring for her. That's when you'll have to worry about.
Like, oh, she's got to go.
No, she's got 8 lives to go. But we want to thank you so much for supporting us and for keeping the lights on. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for liking the video and subscribe to the channel. And thanks for digging on the Wes Anderson video we made over on youtube.com/ComicPop or on all of our various social medias. If you liked it, maybe we'll make more. Who knows?
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here, and have a great week. So long, everybody. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye.